I quote retweeted something yesterday that had a resolution. I had like bookmarked the original post because I was like, let's see what happens here. Let's see what's going on with this weird ass book company that I've literally never heard of before. So there's a company called Bitmap Books, and they released a statement that says, "Dear supporters of Bitmap Books, last week after the launch of our latest book, the definitive book of SNES RPGs Volume 1, we became aware of some historical comments made online in 2022 by the author, Moses Norton. We fully understand that these comments were insensitive, offensive, and are absolutely not views shared by Bitmap Books or any of our stakeholders." Stakeholders, red flag. "We have spoken to Moses, and he's agreed that Bitmap Books will donate all his royalties, present and future, to charity. We have selected Special Effect, an organization that helps severely physically disabled people enjoy video games through the innovative use of technology, specialeffect.org.uk. So before I finish reading this, these people are absolute cucks. They're absolute disingenuous, slimy, deceitful rat cucks. And even after their reversal, I would not trust them as far as I could throw them. And I think it's also interesting that they were like, yeah, we spoke to him and he agreed to donate all his royalties. So they are still going to be, or we're still going to be making money off of his sales. It's just he wouldn't be. If I was in this position, I'd be like, absolutely not. I'm just going to have someone else publish my book. Like, what is this? Ultimately, it's on our shoulders who we work with, so we take full responsibility for this situation. We research all prospective authors before we begin working together. So this is clearly an area where we need to further improve. We hope that this resolution means that we can move forward, as we have lots planned for the rest of 2025 and beyond. Sam Dyer, founder of Bitmap Books. Well, Sam Dyer can eat a dick, because apparently that's really what he likes doing constantly. And reading this the first time, I was like, did Moses say like retard at some point? And then somebody decided to pitch a fit about it because they're a blue sky fairy. And I was trying to find like what he said. And the only screenshots I could find were this. And it was someone named Styka. Let's be honest, anything is a hoot next to the mediocre gaming experiences of the Super Nintendo. And the author that got affected here said, sure, if you're from a third world country. Ninty's still making consoles. Where's Sega making a monopoly on Brazilian homebrews nobody cares about? And then he asked, did you guys get the PS2 over there yet? I mean, valid question considering how long after they discontinued Pepsi Blue it still continued to be sold in some less relevant countries. And then the Styka person responded, xenophobia, so good. They're fucking Brazilians, man! They love this kind of banter! What the fuck does this retard mean? In Brazil? Yeah. No, he's got it backwards. They're still using it there. And then the Red Mage guy responded, oh boy, here comes the cries of misogyny, fascism, and xenophobia. Oh my! Which is the correct response to some retard saying xenophobia to these kinds of jokes. And I was like, man, this is what he was fucking reported for? That's actual insanity. That's ridiculous to the nth degree. So I was like, this is really stupid if that's all he did. But I was like, I'm gonna hold off on quote retweeting this because I want more information. Because like, what if I quote retweet it and I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. He never should get canceled for something like this. And then some person pops up and is like, actually, he said that this entire ethnicity should be exterminated, right? I was like, I'm gonna wait for a little more information. I'm gonna see what's happening here. And thankfully for me, the situation pedaled forward at a breakneck pace. So tons of information came out. The business tarnished the author's professional reputation and cost him his paycheck in a public display of punishment over free speech. True. Apparently, at Styka, who has now deleted his account because he's a massive fucking candy ass, was the one who dug up some dirt to capitalize on the retro gaming attention from the book release, and now claims he didn't mean for the author to lose his career in gaming. It keeps happening, and this cancel culture needs to stop. If any influencer can tarnish your brand for attention and cause you to abandon your contributor, then you're unreliable for any business relations. You hear that, 505? You hear that? In-game? Nobody knows what will be socially acceptable or not to say next year. Nobody can reliably collaborate with you to build anything when a popular kid on X can get them fired. Show actual responsibility at Bitmap Books. You're supposed to be a serious business, and yet you caused harm to a man who created the product you profit from, only to ride a short wave of social media attention for your brand, just like Styka did. To anyone else reading this, please show support to the well-read mage, the book author. His statement about the incident is the most professional among the three, and I hope that the situation will open up more stable opportunities for him to contribute to gaming in the future. So Savvy said, dipped your hand too many times into the honey jar. Styka here saying, Bitmap Books actually made a really cool announcement over this. I'm happy to hear this. So any kind of backtracking of like, oh, I didn't know he was going to lose all his income. I didn't know it was going to be this, but I didn't want to ruin his life. That's just a weasel crying because they've been caught out and people are unhappy with this kind of behavior. They're used to the culture that would give them ass pets and head pets and cheer them on for getting rid of Leiben Nazis, right? They're used to that. And they were thinking that, oh, I can take down someone I had an argument with and get lots of updoots in the process. That is no longer the world we are living in. It's going to take a while for cancel culture to completely fall out of favor, unfortunately, because if it had, Bitmap Books would have never even have made this statement, it would have never even have been a thing, and we wouldn't have even known that any of these people involved, the Bitmap Books, the Red Mage, Styka, we wouldn't have known any of them were fucking cucks. We wouldn't have known any of this if cancel culture was actually gone. But it is on the downturn, it is on the way out, and we have been effectively fighting back, which is a great thing to take hope in. Someone responded, did you see the guy cucked and apologized? And Moses, the author, he said, my name is Moses Norton. I'm the author of the definitive book of SNES RPGs Volume 1. I need to take a moment to speak honestly with you. Some old remarks I made have resurfaced and I understand why they've hurt, alarmed, and disappointed many people. Why would you do this? Why would you apologize? Why would you even say that anything you said was bad or wrong? Like, again, juxtapose this to what I put out during my cancellation campaign. The only apology I ever made was to gamer subs because they had to field a ton of fucking harassment because of me. Because of crazy people lying about me. And I felt bad that someone who I have a trusted relationship with had to deal with any of that. Those statements, escalating from a simple argument over video games, were wrong. I'm Hawaiian Portuguese on my mother's side and no stranger to hurtful comments regarding race. So I'm not proud of the stupid and insensitive statements I made myself. Brother, what the fuck are you talking about? What the actual fuck are you saying here? Nothing that said was hurtful. Not like, what are you talking about? It seems like he's on the same boat with these people's weirdo politics, because, like, why would you type anything like this? Like, I don't think he would go to, like, a based publisher, because I don't think he would want to be associated with any of those kinds of people. To Styka and everyone disturbed by my past remarks, I am sorry, and I deeply regret and resent them. Can we, unless I'm missing something, unless someone can, like, pull up another screenshot of shit that he said, the only thing that I've seen that he said is like, if you're from a third world country, where's Sega making a monopoly on Brazilian homebrews, mocking someone, rightfully so, for saying xenophobia, asking if someone had a PS2 over in their country yet. None of this is like barely even edgy. Like South Park in current year is edgier than this. This is just like a normal human being. Like, what are we even doing here? The reason apologies are never enough for these people are because they are never genuine in their own apologies because they feel they're always right. The apology is like calling you a Nazi isn't because they think you're a Nazi. It's because they're actively targeting you. They're marking you as a target that is okay to have their life ruined, that is okay to even kill. Apologies to these people don't mean anything because they don't see the apology as real. There's no way to redeem yourself once you've done something wrong in their eyes. The apology just means that they can continue beating you until they get everything they want and you're completely destroyed. That is the only goal apologizing to these people does. It hastens your own demise. Why would you do it? I also want to make it absolutely clear that my publisher, Bitmap Books, had no part in these remarks and was not aware of them. The comments were made long before any collaboration on my book began, and they in no way reflect the views, beliefs, or values of Bitmap Books and its team. They have conducted themselves with professionalism and inclusiveness. My past mistakes have nothing to do with their integrity and the quality of their work. And once again, I have to ask the question, how the fuck did a cartoon fox manage to make a better response to these people than someone who's like in an actual professional atmosphere? Can someone make it make fucking sense? Cause like, what is happening? And like, even if this was the only thing he put out, I would have still criticized it, but I would have been like, maybe he and Bitmap Books got together and made this response. Maybe they helped him tailor his response and made him sound more like a cuck than he would have wanted to be. But unfortunately, that's not the case. This is another person saying, am I glad he's getting his royalties restored? Yes. Am I a firm believer in grace and forgiveness? Yes. It's clear to me that the only reason Bitmaps is backtracking is because of the hundreds of people who threatened to boycott. And this is what needs to happen. Anytime someone loses royalties, loses a sponsor, loses a job, loses anything to these violent, disgusting weirdos online, you need to have this backlash, this outcry, all of these people saying, fuck you, why did you do that to this person? Because otherwise, companies aren't going to learn that this is not okay to do anymore. I miss when companies just wanted to make money and instead, like, I hate the virtue signaling that's done. Even in this post, they admit to nothing besides being hasty. Heck, they still said their fulfillment of the original contract was basically linked to the author apologizing and the one rando who complained, letting him off the hook. Which means to me, if given the opportunity to throw their writers under the bus again, they'd happily do it if they can avoid the same level of backlash. Which is also something that I said. I can't remember if it was in response to Savvy or in a response to somebody under my own tweet. But this is also something I said, which is why I don't trust this company at all. I want to be cautiously optimistic because they reversed the decision in general, which is more than what we've seen companies do previously. But I do not trust them in any way, shape, or form. The only reason they did this is because of the backlash, because of everyone who spoke out on Twitter about this thing. And I see if they were able to get away with this in the future, I see no reason why they wouldn't do so. Which is why it's great that we have, you know, all these celebrations for canceling cancel culture now. But think about from the side of the people who perpetuate cancel culture, right? Trump is in office for about 4 years and we have this momentary glow of hope that things might get better and maybe we'll have somebody even further to the right of Trump come in office afterwards. If somebody from the left gets in office again and repeals a ton of the executive orders and starts dismantling things around them with the help of everybody else who believes in them and believes in the stuff that they do, we could go back into an era of cancel culture even worse than it was before. Because we actually started fighting back. We actually started defending ourselves and we actually started harming the people who had brought harm against us. People got fired for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I don't think that's at all equivocal to anything anyone on the right has been canceled for, but the left finally saw some repercussions for their actions. And if they get into power again, they are going to be very resentful and want revenge for the fact that we dared to defend ourselves. So all of these companies, even if they're reversing course right now, which is good, I do not trust them. And I do believe that if they had the opportunity in the future, they would absolutely do worse because we defended ourselves and we fought back against their tactics. And so this person was responding to Bitmap Books finally reversing course. Bitmap Books had said, "Dear supporters of Bitmap Books, although I stand by the fact that Moses' comments were ill-advised and insensitive," I want to remind you, they're even more blasé than me just making pronoun jokes. This guy literally did nothing wrong. So it's crazy that their opener on their reversal is standing by the fact that the comments were ill-advised and insensitive. The whole thing blew up and was made much bigger than it needed to be. That sounds like weasel words for we wanted to get rid of this guy and steal his royalties, but oh no, we were found out and we couldn't do that anymore. Fuck you, buddy. Moses has publicly apologized for any offense caused, which he shouldn't have done, as has the original poster of the comments who did not intend to cause this much trouble. Fuck that guy. Absolutely fuck that guy. And if he's a content creator, I hope this is the end for him, because you don't do that shit. You absolutely do not do that shit. There are so many content creators that I dislike and I would never work with, and I would never try to ruin their career. This guy does not deserve the audience that he has. I do not feel that this warrants an author losing his livelihood and ruining years of hard work to produce the book. Again, this guy is just fucking lying. I don't believe that he believes that, because he was very much fucking ready to do that to the author. This author's reputation is also damaged both by this company capitulating to some retard content creator and because the author himself decided to write up some weird cuckery, capitulating to the cult that wanted him canceled in the first place. Despite multiple accusations to the contrary, Moses freely agreed to donate his royalties to charity. Now, obviously, I'm not a fly on the wall. Obviously, I'm not this red hat author. I'm not the book company. I'm not the cuck creator that tried to cancel the author.
Spicy cat raid. What the hell is this spicy cat
But
raid?
I do know how insider baseball works. There is nothing that anyone involved could say that could get me to believe that Moses freely agreed to donate his royalties. Because if I had been come to with that decision, I would have been like, I'm just gonna get it published somewhere else. Why would I decide to give up all of my royalties from something I created because I'm being held hostage by a single cucked content creator and a weirdo book company? There's no way, dude. They must have threatened him with some industry blacklisting or something. And this wasn't like anything simple. This was literally him publishing his work and then losing all his money for it. Like that's not a little thing. There was no coercion from me. However, we both recognize that due to an increasingly stressful situation, decisions were rushed on both sides. How do you unironically start victim blaming in the middle of we're reversing our decision? How? What? I'm pleased to say that Moses and I have spoken again today, and we stand together and have agreed that he will receive 100% of his royalties. Again, I'm very glad that they backtracked on this. This is not a company that I would trust unless they came out with a statement that was like, we were unequivocally wrong for bending the knee to this one cuck content creator. We were unequivocally wrong for trying to take away an author's royalties, right? Like, I need some sort of show of accountability and show of we won't do this again from a company in order to have any sort of minute amount of trust in them at this point. Did he just try to both sides the taking away a dude's money? He did. He did. Maybe I was hasty in my response, and I'm happy to admit that. At the time, I sincerely thought I was doing the right thing to defuse an increasingly difficult situation. And if you read this correctly, he's actually saying, I thought that cancel culture was still in play and that we could get rid of people who said things we personally found offensive due to our politics. Unfortunately, I had to backtrack because we can't have civility anymore. I will commit to donating all company profits from this first print run to the charity Special Effect, which is interesting. You know, again, slightly good thing that he's saying he's going to donate the company profits to the charity he had chosen previously. However, notice how in the cancellation print, he had said that all royalties would be removed from the author. However, the company profits are only going to be removed from the first print run. He didn't even copy check it. The bottom line is that Moses has apologized for his original comments and will now be paid the royalties that are rightfully his. He shouldn't have apologized. He did nothing wrong. Moses and myself have received a large amount of personal abuse and threats over the past few days. We hope that this statement will bring some closure to what has happened. It's not personal abuse, it's criticism for you making a shit fucking decision based off of literally fucking nothing. This person posted a screenshot and said they sold their business for a 400 likes blue sky cancel culture outrage post. And yes, the owner supports it. Before I had the Vice hit pieces written on me, it was like a handful of literal who's, mostly 2 people. But a handful of literal who's on Twitter that were completely fucking ignorable. They had no effect on anything. They were laughable. Nobody cared. But then, as soon as I went on vacation, some ideologue, autogynephiliac, sorry, my pronunciation, decided to write hit pieces on me in a position where they thought I wouldn't be able to either answer them or respond. And I don't negotiate with terrorists, so obviously I'm not going to respond to somebody who writes a hit piece on me. Why the fuck would I? But the people who have dropped me essentially did the same thing. And this is how it always starts, which is something I also said in the reply to Savvy. It's one, like, literal who, unknown candy-ass piece of shit that tries to stir up sentiment, and then all of their little cockroaches who believe in the same slanted reality that they live in, that's not equivalent to actual reality, just start blowing the fire and making it way bigger and looking like it's way bigger of a thing than it actually is. Again, look at Rin Penrose. She got hundreds of thousands, if not like over 1 million views on her tweet dropping her sponsor over me. But she's completely negligible. The attention she got on Twitter meant fucking nothing. She can't move sales. She can't get any money on her streams. She was a negligible thing, but it got attention on Twitter. And that's what people pay attention to. 3 million plus, thank you. Stika had posted a couple of days ago, let's hope the book doesn't have a section on Brazil or third world countries, which is, I guess, the post that got the attention of the publisher in the first place. And then they quote retweeted themselves on Blue Sky saying, I am now blocked by Bitmap Books, that's disappointing. And now my block was lifted, I'm confused. And Bitmap Books responded directly to them, saying, hi, this is Sam Dyer. That's the guy who made all of these announcements here. Owner of Bitmap Books, you were blocked by your social media manager incorrectly. As soon as I noticed, I unblocked you as this was not an instruction from me. So their social media manager was a competent human being and blocked a cockroach. And then the owner stepped in and said, no, that was a mistake. We love cucks here. What the fuck? Stika responded and said, I didn't do it for the clout. I did it because we have a long-standing beef. Once again, any apologies from this person mean nothing. Any backtracking from this person means nothing. He knew what he was doing. He wanted to ruin this author, and he did it because of a personal beef. This is a deranged individual. And also someone much like Bitmap Books that I would never trust in any way, shape, or form. So I found this really interesting, that he noticed the block, he noticed the unblock, and the owner of Bitmap Books responded to the cockroach here. This is in response to them reversing the royalties decision. The author said, I'm the author and I'm incredibly happy with all the support and how this turned out. Bitmap Books has my back. I don't think they do. Many supporters have my back. Folk can absolutely support me and my family by buying the most controversial RPG book ever today. I don't think I would buy it through Bitmap Books even after this reversal. If there were a way, like if I was interested in this, if there were a way to buy it directly from the author, I would prefer to do that, because again, I don't trust the company with how they worded everything. I do not trust them at all. And I find it extra interesting because I had bookmarked this post so that I could read this thread, but he deleted the OP post, and I had to ask KB if he could use some Google magic to find if anyone had archived it. And thankfully, KB is a very good magician. So this person responded in response to Moses Norton's original post saying, stand tall and don't apologize for something so trivial next time, brother. I'm pleased by the outcome. Good for you. This never should have been a thing to begin with. And the author responded, thank you. I admit we were all unprepared and I was frankly scared, especially once threats were made by the mob. It's horrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. You don't feel good. You feel crazy anxiety. You wonder, like, what's going to happen, because you know the culture that we've been in is that these crazy psychopaths get capitulated to. And you just watch everything you've built, everything you've worked for, like, that could crumble if anyone capitulates to these fucking freaks. So, like, yeah, it's definitely scary. And that's all behind me now. I'm not proud of everything I said in the past, but we beat cancel culture, and I'm never bowing to the mob again. Buy my book. Well, I mean, your apology is bowing to the mob. I don't know what you mean by this. And the guy responded, I understand the PR efforts. At the end of the day, you just want people to buy or read your book and enjoy the fruits of your labor and share your passion with your fellow gamers. Also appreciate the critic, JPG. I missed that show and it didn't get a fair shake. The author responded again, thank you so much. I didn't want to become famous or infamous. I just wanted to write books. It's been my dream since I was just a lad. I'm so glad this happy ending happened. John Lovitz is underrated. And I found it interesting that he deleted the first post here while also saying he's never bowing to the mob again, that everything's happy, everything's great, you know, he just wants to write books. 7 hours ago, he posted, no vengeance, no more destruction, it's time to rebuild. Tolkien's words are pure, ordinary wisdom. Spoilers, I guess, for a 70-year-old book. And then he posts some excerpt from a Tolkien book. And someone, thankfully, replies to him, which was his pinned tweet, which is now deleted, saying, is this your grace and integrity, dude? The author deleted a tweet that said, we did it, we beat cancel culture, you had my back and Bitmap has my back, thank you for your support. Buy the book the mob tried to cancel today. The mob didn't try to cancel the book, they tried to cancel you, sir. Nothing in your book was what they found harmful, they found you yourself to be harmful. And KB took an extra minute to find the video, so I'll grab that and see what the video says. And the author responded, being happy I wasn't destroyed, yes it absolutely is. You'd note in that video I specifically said no vengeance and do not go after anyone. That's not your principles, I guess. And he was asked, why did you delete the post? And there is still no response. Still no response to that. And I can understand the PR rationale by saying, you know, don't go after anyone, but you don't really have to add in the extra bit about vengeance. People are not going to support this company because of the way they reacted to this author. That is just how things are now, and they do not deserve any sort of acquiescence. Again, I'm glad that they reversed this. I'm glad the guy is going to be getting his royalties, but everything they said points to do not trust them. They would happily do this again. So here's the video from the tweet that was deleted.
Hey folks, how's it going? This is Moses Norton, aka the Well-Read Mage, the author of the most controversial RPG book ever written. That's right, the definitive book of SNES RPGs Volume 1. Here to tell you that we did it. We beat cancel culture. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for getting my back. Bitmap Books has got my back. You need to go buy.
I think it's really weird how he keeps saying that the book is what got canceled when none of the outrage had anything to do with the book. It had to do with things he as the author had tweeted. Can I be like really heavy fucking tinfoil for a second, chat? Can I just wear an entire suit of tinfoil armor and no one take this seriously or as a statement of fact because obviously it's very tinfoily? Because of the way this guy keeps talking, and because of the way the posts from the Bitmap Book Company have been worded, the way that he responds about his cancellation, the way that he keeps mentioning how his book is canceled, you know, buy the canceled book now, how he keeps saying Bitmap has his back. The guy that alerted Bitmap to these very boilerplate, normal human statements, being a content creator that had historical beef with this author. What if this was all manufactured? What if this wasn't a real cancellation, but they know that cancel campaigns are on their way out, and they figured that they could drum up a lot of support and get a lot of people to buy this book if they pretend to cancel the author over something ridiculous, and then they put out the very typical statements that most people would expect them to put out after this would happen. It's very tinfoil. It's very tinfoily. But I can't help but have that thought sink into my brain, if only for a second, based on everything I am reading and seeing. Why delete this video? Why delete the tweet that had this video in it? It doesn't make any sense.
Buy this book today. If you want to shove down the face of cancel culture today, go out and buy this book. No more harassment. No more, don't go after anybody. No vendetta, no revenge or anything like that. Just go out and support authors. Go out and support this book, please. A lot of people were affected by this cancel culture targeted canceling hate brigade campaign.
How are you going to call it a targeted canceling hate brigade and then also say, you know, don't say anything to the people involved? Like that's a little weird.
A lot of people were hurt. Not just me, not just my family, families of those people who work for Bitmap Books, the authors published by Bitmap Books. This is huge. But we won. We did it. Thank you very much for your support. Buy the book today. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, again, I wouldn't buy it through Bitmap. If I was interested in this book, I would absolutely want to find a way to buy it without having to go through Bitmap. I'd said, it's good to see another instance of cancel culture failing, and the company tried to repair things with the author they were ready to throw under a bus for nothing. I wouldn't fully trust this publisher, but who knows what was said behind the scenes. And I still feel like this is mostly correct. Like, I want to continue operating on the fact that this is probably not manufactured. And someone responded, the founder was willing to destroy an author and take their royalties over hearsay from one person with no evidence that turned out to be the result of a personal grudge. There's no reason to trust nor support such a company ever again. They're ideologues and traitors. And while I agree, I responded with, agreed. But as I said in a different comment, I think from the perspective of if I were to be approached by in-game after they dropped me due to my cancellation campaign. These companies need to understand that capitulating to cancel culture will always be worse for them. And if I had been approached, and I had said this like even way back when it first happened and I first came out and talked about it, like if they contacted me, I absolutely would want to talk to them. Not without my manager, that's for goddamn sure. I don't want to talk to those people ever again by myself after what happened to me, because I don't feel like I would be in a good position if there wasn't another party present. But I would want to talk to them. It was a game that I really enjoyed. I didn't do it for the money. I was barely getting paid anything. They had just recently set up their like creator payment program thing. I did it because I liked the game and I liked the attitude of the developers making the game. I wanted the game to succeed, and I wanted to do everything I could with my audience to propel that. And because I feel that way about the game, if they had approached me, I would want to have a conversation. I would want to talk to them about how to fix things. I think leaving there no room for forgiveness and no room to like a path of redemption for these companies is erroneous. I understand wanting to see everything burned to ashes, but that's not a realistic mind frame to have. It's about how the companies respond. I would not trust a company unless they outwardly said that they were wrong for doing something like this. They were wrong for participating in cancel culture and taking the words of just like random people as gospel without talking to anyone, right? I think that we should be able to have that avenue of talking and redemption open. And this other guy responded, in most cases, they're doing it because they think that the vast majority of people will support them and haven't caught on to how much the winds have changed. But in some cases, they're true believers and it isn't about the money. Things won't change until these people are removed. And I completely agree with him. When you look at development companies and you look at the ideologues that have infiltrated them and they basically shit on all of the customers that buy their game, they say shit like gamers are over, we need to burn the gaming industry to the ground. Those people absolutely need to get removed. Abso-fucking-lutely. Those people are dangerous to have in any positions of power within these companies, and if they aren't removed, this will continue to happen. And I said, I completely agree with that. That's why I think if a company realizes, oh fuck, capitulating to the cancel culture demands didn't work, and they try to work it out, there should be very cautious optimism. Like, yes, in a perfect world, a company wouldn't capitulate to the cancel culture demands at all, right? In a perfect world, there would be no capitulation, but we don't live there. We live in a world where companies have been capitulating to it for over a decade now. And if we don't take those companies when they say, I was wrong, this shouldn't have happened, we made mistakes, and we want to make it right, they have to say something along those lines instead of the disgusting weaselly words that Bitmap said. Bitmaps is not an actual, we take accountability, we knew what we did was wrong. They're once again just being weasels, which is why they deserve no trust even after their statement. And I said, I do not like how the company has phrased things. I certainly don't trust them, and I plan on talking more about it on stream. Which is what I do! Most of my stuff is on stream because Twitter just does not allow for me to have long discussions about this shit. So Savvy quoted here saying, maybe if we donate to charity, people will believe us. And she's like, no, you've proven you will knee jerk against anyone who works with you. Why would anyone trust that? Also, Moses was probably just trying to figure out how to salvage his reputation because you just left things to people's imagination instead of showing what was said. And I hate this as well. I hate when companies are like, we're parting ways with this problematic person because of the things that they've said. And then they don't show the things that they said and we all have to go play detective and figure it out ourselves. Unless the person just releases it, right? I was like, if the company is gonna part ways for someone over dumb shit, you should show the dumb shit. Like, fucking stand on your business. If it's bad enough that you want to ruin this person, show what they fucking said. And this guy, lead coder on Kingmakers, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with this guy. Just like, I like reading out people's names. He said, they apologized and reversed course. Take the W. And I said, I think it's good that they reversed course, but their language suggests they shouldn't be trusted. I want to see companies saying we shouldn't be knee-jerk getting rid of collaborators based on some random people complaining. The author did nothing wrong and we made a bad decision. Or some variation of. That would be a genuine beginning. If the companies can't admit capitulating to cancel culture in the first place was wrong, they are merely making the right choice because it is also the correct business decision, and wouldn't hesitate to throw people under the bus again should the winds blow that way. This was our saying, this is the person admitting they did what they did, and this is the, I didn't do it for the clout, I did it because we have a long-standing beef, and I said, this is how it's always been. One shitty person starts the cancel campaign and it spreads like wildfire. It's how it was with me. Opera watched a TikTok from some one random person and cut ties with a creator making Blue Archive tier lists. I'm sure any cancel campaign can be traced back to one retard wanting to feel powerful by seeing if they can destroy someone else's livelihood. This particular retard didn't get the memo that the ability to ruin people on a whim is on its way out finally. It took way too long and way too many people to get to this point. And it's eternally frustrating to look back and think of how much damage was done to so many people and their careers and their ability to support themselves or their families because of cancel culture. So I wanted to go through this whole like cancellation campaign thing on stream because again, a tweet is not enough to go through everything that fucking happened here. Like, I still somewhat feel bad for the author, but the way he responded was fucking horrendous. Like, I could not think of like a worse way to have responded.